Thank you. Yes, I had the privilege of serving the Indian Army for 25 years, and this rich experience from the Indian Armed Forces has been a great help in number of things, especially relating to the hospitality industry. The very first thing which we value in the army and also which comes handy also in the hospitality industry is the value for time. So this is one very important factor. And number two is the retention of staff. And number three is an outlook towards a healthy HR relationship with the employees. So these the three things uh, which have been from coming from my background from the Indian Army has been a great help and been a very big advantage for me while working with the hospitality industry for the last 3 decades. Yes, the family legacy has been very rich culturally and also the background itself coming from the late Maharaja Ranjit Singh's heritage. And it has been a wonderful journey, not only for me but even for my family to reach this level in the hospitality industry. You see, our family had migrated from Pakistan after the partition, and the family was staying in the town called Gujranwala of Pakistan. So, so where we are talking about the heritage and the royalty that my father and my grandfather did experience during the early age in Pakistan only. I mean, I have heard stories of my father attending a school by going in a buggy driven by 4 horses. So, the whether it was the genes or whether it was the family legacy which we have been carrying on. So, once we came to India, so the allotment of land to us was done in this part of Haryana. Coming from a very rich cultural background, so I tried to recreate what I had learned in my childhood from my elders, especially my father and my great grandfather, who were always very vocal about and used to narrate us often about the times we used to have in Pakistan. A large amount of land was owned by us. Uh, the houses were not normal houses, they were big havelis and palaces which the family enjoyed in the pre-partition days. All this coming back from the family background, I think naturally it had to do something with the genes. So when we thought about creating some sort of a architectural marvel, so we focused on two basic facts. One was the Mughal architecture and second was the Rajputana architecture. So this particular architecture the family had seen during the early days. So this is how the idea of Noormahal Palace came up, and we thought like how we can add on to the various palaces and other cultural heritage sites in India. If you actually see, you may find palaces, havelis, forts, etc. in state like Rajasthan or in UP, where the golden triangle of tourism merges, that is Jaipur, Agra, Delhi. But nevertheless, even though we were located north of Delhi, so I thought of creating something close to the proximity of Delhi NCR so that it enriches the a complete area as such, because right from Delhi to Lahore, if you travel on the National Highway 44, you'll not find a palace hotel of this magnitude. So the family legacy has got a major role to play in a creation of Noor Mahal Palace. I think this particular question should have been better answered by my son, Kamar Roop Pratap, who's based in London and is looking after the restaurant Colonel Saab. And I shall be very delighted to inform you that we are now coming up with another restaurant, again by the name of Colonel Saab 2, at the famous Trafalgar Square site. And this particular site belongs to the royal family of UK, and we were very lucky to get this for a second restaurant. It is located at a very iconic site. And going into the background, like how did we reach London from this small town? Yes, it has been a long journey from Karnal to London, I should say, and it has not been easy because London has got a very competitive F&B market. If I'm not wrong, there are about 1,500 Indian restaurants which are categorized into street food, fine dining, luxury restaurants, and so on. And I shall be very honest in saying this, that here my son was very keen to have a foothold outside the country. And he, after his education from United States of America, he did his post-graduation from Nanyang University, Singapore. And once he had come back with this rich experience of education and serving the hospitality industry, he found that the London market is very challenging. Being a world-class city, it has, plenty to offer, but at the same time, a very challenging assignment. So, to start with first venture, it was a very tedious work when we carried out the reconnaissance for looking for an exact location in London. Our focus was mainly on central London, and because central London is an area which houses most of the sightseeing places for a normal ordinary tourist. Whether it's the Buckingham Palace or the Big Ben or or the museums or the 10 Downing Street or the Tower Bridge, etc., etc. So they're all located in the close vicinity of central London. So our focus was to set up a establishment of fine dining in this area, which this area of Covent Garden did not have a fine dining Indian restaurant. They had restaurants which were serving street food. And street food diners are more of a very touristy nature, and but not the locals. They do not enjoy, the street food, the Indian street food, but they do enjoy the Indian food in exclusive fine dining restaurants. So we wanted to join this particular team of fine dining and very exclusive restaurants. So for that, the basic strength which we had was the Indian heritage. If you see the Colonel Saab's pictures, you'll be mesmerized by the type of Indian touch and the interiors which we have created in Colonel Saab. And when the Britishers saw this interiors, the only thing was wow. So that wow factor coming for an Indian restaurant in central London is something, which we were also taken aback because the response was so good. And like I said, the strength being the showcasing of the Indian heritage and culture. So there you are. In 2 years' time, we are already on our second project. You see, we are finding social changes in the country. A very large number of changes we are finding in the Indian hospitality industry. For example, I'd like to inform you that Earlier, basically, the Indian hotels were only catering to a service sector. The basic service was the moot point. Later on, that was initially when I started my career with the hospitality industry about, say, 30 years back. But now, with the advent of so many gadgets and technology, we are finding that the focus on service has lessened, and there is a variety of other factors which have come now, which attract the guest and also attract additional business. Earlier, it was basically service, now it is leisure and business. And leisure and business, they are such an important part of our Indian culture that every family in current circumstances likes to move out on a long weekend or wants to have a good destination wedding. So these are all social changes which have taken place in the last few years. So here is what the family legacy comes in. We were all, where India is concerned as a country as such, the hospitality is in our blood. I mean, Atithi Devo Bhave. I mean, even some guest comes to your house, you go all out to look after the guest and make sure that the person is comfortable and well looked after. So, but adding on services which makes the service faster, much more prompt, much more useful, much more business-like, has given an advent into this industry. And we are finding this as a big change. I'll say you can here now the leisure and business both are enriching the hospitality industry, and that's why you're finding that the future of hospitality industry in India is very, very bright. My very simple advice to all the entrepreneurs of the country is there is no rocket science involved in hospitality. Be simple, be down to earth, and make sure you never say no to your guest.